Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you and peace out to the rest of you. This is Blackheart signing black in again. First off, let me go ahead and explain that about this Ilhan Omar situation, that Ilhan Omar's been accused of something before, and she's met it head on. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not defending her decision to run for the U.S. Congress. I'm not defending the decision to travel with her political consultant, especially anytime she went with him by themselves. I'm not defending any of this. I am admitting that BGS has referred to the divorce petition that the political consultant's wife filed, in which he stated that he was in love with her. I didn't hear specifically where he said that they were having an affair. I did hear, though, that he said he was in love with her in the petition, and so she pretty much says that Ilhan Omar is suing for alienation of affection and estrangement. Now, given the man situation, I can certainly understand the feeling, the instinct. I am biased, and I'm biased against white women romantically, so I get it. He's got a white woman that, but then again, you see, as much of a red pill man as I may be, I do appreciate it when women back up their men. And this lady backed him up, helped him get his career started. And one of the things I would say is that you do not take, as hard as I can be on men and women, I have to say this: you don't sit up here and take a loyal woman and then just throw her to the wayside. You don't do that. If it's really that bad, polygamy is a better option. But this guy decided what he decided. If he actually did file for divorces, and this is not some big stage play, then he's trying to throw a loyal wife to the wayside to chase after a younger lady. And I realize that most men do prefer women younger. You all have heard me say before that I generally don't. But I understand that this does happen with a lot of guys, just like, a lot of women actually prefer men to be older than them. But to get to the meat of this, let me go ahead and stress the things that are important for African American men and for Muslims to understand out of this. Number one, if you're African American or Muslim, you know conspiracies exist. They don't always involve a secret meeting held in some secret location that exists but it doesn't exist. It doesn't always involve a conversation that happened but didn't happen. It's not always like that. A lot of conspiracies are simply silent agreements that are bolstered by common interest. A lot of them are simply like that. There is a silent conspiracy to keep black folk down. Other races of people do not have to sit up here and meet in a room. Now, you would say, well, how is this the case? Because people are not born with an anti-black instinct. No, it's not. But in order to understand that, you'd have to believe that an actual Satan exists and that he's not always in human form. You'd have to believe this, and most of us don't want to. But you got to realize, though, the conspiracies can be spoken or they can be silent. Either one. And you don't always know which conspiracy is which, but if you're black, our community has been a victim of conspiracies before. Government conspiracies including. And if you're Muslim, our community has been a victim of conspiracies before. Government conspiracies included. So in this case, you're dealing with the most easy to understand type of conspiracy, which is a government conspiracy. And this is when a few people do have to actually have a meeting and agree to something. And then those those over whom they are in charge simply have to follow their orders. But they agree with each other that they're going to give orders that have a certain type of coordination to them. And this is what we have a high possibility of facing here. She has already been accused of marrying her brother. And she stated, that's ridiculous. How would I be alive if I did something like that? How would my brother be alive if he did something like that? So she's already dealt with these rumors before. And this is one valid reason for not dealing with rumors. If you're not having an affair, and then all of a sudden people ask her, are you having an affair with so-and-so? And you've already dealt with rumors about you being incestuous. You then turn around, or at least being incestuous on paper. You may very well say, well, I've dealt with this before. I'm not doing this stuff again. So that's a valid reason. Now, on the other hand, if I was her, I would say, no, I'm having an affair with my husband. I would say something like that if I was in her shoes. But then again, I haven't been in her shoes. I wouldn't run for political office. That's the first thing. Not in the United States, not in a non-Muslim jurisdiction. Second thing is, when you start dealing with all these allegations of what you're like sexually, I haven't had to deal with as many as she has had to deal with, because when I was blamed or when I was suspected for things that never happened, that never happened to begin with, things that never even occurred, I was just suspected of being a particular way. It was still it was not like what she dealt with, because the rumors never went beyond the black community of my city. Never did. The rumors never went even into any other cities. So all the speculation as to why, black wasn't dating in high school when others were, was speculation limited to the city in which the black community of the city in which I grew up. And I never had to face what Ilhan Omar had to face. But I would say this, though. Before you can say that Ilhan Omar is having a full-blown affair, cheating on her current husband, if you're a Muslim, you need 4 witnesses. Or you need some irrefutable proof like a videotape or multiple confessions. That's the first thing. If you're a Muslim, refrain from saying that she's guilty until there's some proof or 4 witnesses. And the 4 witnesses have to actually witness the body parts involved in adultery. That's the first thing. If you are black, you need to understand that because you have a woman who is black and identifies as Muslim, trying to a certain extent, she's trying to make sure that certain bad things don't happen to you. You need to realize that this is reason enough for her to be targeted by both white supremacists in the United States and Zionists, and the two tend to go together. You need to realize that this is what's going on. If she did nothing, or if she was merely alone with the man that works for her when she shouldn't have been, and he developed feelings for her, whatever the case is, no matter how guilty or innocent she is, this is going to come out. Now, should she have ever been alone with him? No, she shouldn't. And this is why it is that I understand why, a lot of brothers, they say, look, we'll marry, or you'll just date, or you'll marry, whatever the case is. You're not going to take a woman that you love in another country and then bring them, or a non-Western country, and bring them to a Western country. You wouldn't do it, because there's certain things you're going to see change about them, and it's never for the better. I understand that, because she knows doggone well, she knows that growing up where she did and where she's from, that you don't even want to leave the door open to those allegations and suspicions. This is understood. This is known. You don't do it. So, the other thing I want you to understand, just if you're black or Muslim, is that AIPAC they're very powerful, and they do run media. They have files on Congress people and senators, especially senators. They have files on them. If they don't get dirt on you, then they make it up. That's the first thing. They do what they can to control you. They've got Rashida Tlaib in there. They don't have control over her. They got Ilhan in Congress, and they don't have control over her as far as we know. I forgot the other sister's name. They didn't have control over Cynthia McKinney. The only thing they could do was make sure that they didn't ever win re-election. That's all that could happen. I'm telling you, at this point, that they're dirty, they play brutal. If you were guilty or innocent, they're going to get you on something. That's the first thing you got to understand. This is not a case of anything other than a man filing a divorce petition and saying what he said. If he said that he's having an affair, then that is evidence against her. If he merely said that he's in love with her, but he didn't say he's having an affair, then that's not necessarily evidence against her per se. It's evidence as to how he feels. If he if he did in fact move out of the house with his wife and take nothing at all, that certainly speaks to something else. And that's another topic for another recording. But I also wanted to point one more thing out. And I wanted to point this out to black men especially. If this is the case, or if it's not, the fact that she is being named as cheating on someone, even in rumors, is not only hard on her, especially if she's innocent, it's hard on her husband if she's innocent or guilty. And I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. I have not even heard black men mention this. And this shows you that we ourselves have been brainwashed by the African American matriarchy to think that we don't matter. A lot of you say, would she be stoned to death in her country if this happened? Well, she'd be stoned to death if you can prove that she did it. And that takes 4 witnesses. And she would have to be married. That's what it would take for her to be stoned to death. If she's not married, never has been married, and she fornicated, that's a different penalty. And even then, that takes a lot of proof. But the thing is that nobody has mentioned what the husband must be going through. Nobody. She was rumored to have married her brother. Some rumors say that it was the first husband that she's now remarried to again after the second husband and her divorced. Others say it was the second husband from whom she's now divorced and has since remarried the first husband. So the rumors differ as to the identity of the which husband was the brother. But the point I'm making is that that's what we're dealing with. Rumors. But in any case, I'm assuming that they're not. Because if she had married her brother, somebody would have had something to say about it, and I don't think she would have lived this long. But the other thing to understand, too, that's even more important, is to realize as well that at the end of the day, the husband has been neglected in all of this. And all of our reactions, ain't none of us said nothing about the husband. What must he be going through? Because again, even in our own minds, we don't matter. And that is one of the reasons that we got these matriarchal ma'am dingoes in the community running around here leveling false accusations against black men who get passports and leave the West and leave Western women alone and find a better life with women that aren't Western. That's the reason why it is. You got these matriarchal ma'am dingoes like Super Not Sly and No Cast talking about some of these niggas as pedophiles or incels. Well, now, pedophiles and incels are 2 different types of people. So which one is it? But they're going to sit up here and say both. Why? Because in their minds, black men don't matter. And black men's health doesn't matter. Black men's well-being doesn't matter. Black men's busted nuts don't matter. None of these things matter. Nigga, you ain't no good nowhere. You get what I say you gonna get. And they got the same mindset. Whatever the Western sister says that you get is what you get. And we fail to understand that they've been infantilized. And so consequently, they have no reason to sit up and say, okay, well, you're going to get what you earned and worked for, and you're going to get what you paid the cost to get. And I don't mean just financially either, but I mean in terms of any type of sacrifice. Then I'd sit up here saying, okay, well, you've been in the gym all this time, so you're going to get someone that's also in shape. They don't say, well, you've made the sacrifice to become educated and well paid, so you're going to get either a lady that's going to contribute to that and not give you any crap about her contributing her own resources because she made the same sacrifices, or she's going to come in and be submissive. discuss with you, and then go with your final decision and do what the hell you say because you're bringing the resources to the table. They don't even offer one of those two. They tell you she gonna come in. If she's on your level financially, she's too good for you, and she ain't supposed to submit to you because you're a man. What they're telling you is that you're gonna get someone who comes with less resources because of hypergamy, but because of feminism, you're gonna pay the cost for her to be the boss. A lose-lose scenario. And these matriarchal dingo ass niggas are sitting up here saying exactly what is in the benefit of a hypocritical feminist for them to say to other black men. We have been brainwashed against ourselves even. We're not aware of it, but we have been. We think that we're just normal somehow. We think that we're completely mentally free, and we think that we took the red pill, went through red pill rage, and we came out completely undamaged. No, it's a process. It still goes on. And that's the main thing that I learned from this Ilhan Omar affair, or this Ilhan Omar scandal, I should say, because affair you might think I mean love affair, and I don't know that she's had one. What I do know are some other things, but they don't have any. They have nothing to do with this. And I can also tell you that at the end of the day, we do have to be careful. If you are Muslim or if you are black, you got to be careful who you alone with. That's real. You got to be careful what you do and how you do it. You got to be careful what ammunition you give other people to accuse you of something that you did not do. That's when you're innocent. When you're black or when you're Muslim, you are going to be blamed for things you didn't do, and nobody thinks that anything's wrong with that. You got to understand that. You got to realize that. She doesn't have to be guilty. This was going to happen anyway. It was a question of when and what was the opportunity. So this man catches feelings, affair or not, he catches feelings, files for divorce, and tells her why he's doing it. Let me explain something to you. If you're a political consultant and your boss comes to you and pays you and you're doing the work and you're trying to protect the image, why would you name them first and last name in a divorce petition? Why would you do it? That right there tells me something. That's what makes this whole thing suspicious. Has she done other things to compromise her religion? Yeah, she has. She certainly has. I don't think she knows about the ruling of trying to join a legislative team on behalf of a non-Sharia jurisdiction. She may not know about that ruling. She does know. If she does know, then I would be the first to say that she should follow that ruling. But anyway, let me go ahead and point something else out too, though. When she does something that compromises her religion, whether she knows it's a compromise or not, she does it boldly. She doesn't hide it. She doesn't keep it a secret. When Ilhan Omar ran for Congress, she ran for Congress. Didn't keep it no secret. She went out seeking votes and got them. When Ilhan Omar supported the LGBT community, beyond the simple right to not be blamed for things that they did not do, which they are not facing anyway, she did it openly. There was no hiding. She did it. If Ilhan Omar wanted another man aside from her husband, chances are she would have simply said to her husband, "We're done," and then made herself free to marry somebody else. And I don't think she would have done it for a white dude that's not Muslim, even if they work together. Some of you were saying, well, Ilhan Omar, she done cheated on a black man with a white dude because, black women in America and in Africa worship the white man. That actually doesn't always happen, but it is a noticeable problem. But a lot of times, actually, I'm just going to be honest with you, man. In Eastern Africa, a lot of those women really ain't into white dudes like that. A lot of them just aren't. Sometimes there are those who are into any man and get him out of poverty, but Ilhan Omar is not poor. So the chances of her actually being into a white dude are very slim. But then again, she may be one of those that's completely neutral. The thing is, if she was into white dudes, she would have had the opportunities, being in Minnesota, she would have had plenty of opportunities to marry a white Muslim, not be blamed by anybody, and fix everything from there on. She would have had plenty of opportunities for that. It would not have costed her votes in her community. It actually would not have. Because many think that her community is very closed off when it comes to marriage, that they're completely endogamous. Well, that was the case at one point, but nowadays it's not really like that. Nowadays they are religiously endogamous. They're not racially and tribally as endogamous as they used to be. Nowadays, many people from her ethnic community care more about the man's religion than they do about his origin. If she marries a man that is not from that ethnic community, but he's Muslim, they will fuck the shuck up. And if she's running for Congress and they like a platform, they'd vote for her. That's how things have changed. What I want y'all to realize at this point, nowadays, I want you all to understand that a lot of this does not add up. Now, as for her behavior, even I've had stuff to say about it. I've left comments like that. But at no point am I about to sit up here and say that she's guilty without proof. That's one thing. And at no point am I going to sit up here and say that the divorce petition itself is enough to say that she's definitely guilty. The only evidence against her is that she was named in a divorce petition and that she won't give a comment on it. But there is one reason, though, that happens to some people, and it will explain why you can be accused of something of a sexual nature and you stop giving comments and defending yourself. And that is this. When you get blamed or suspected or accused of something or rumored of something that's sexually deviant, and it happens multiple times, you can develop something similar to what African Americans have developed. We African Americans have always been castigated and demonized to the point that a lot of us forget how innocent we are. Frances Cress Welsing talked about this as a phenomenon once. That there was a black patient she had who had been harassed by so many police officers so many times that he actually felt a sense of relief when he finally snapped and committed a crime. Because that was the one time that he was able to control the interaction with the police. He actually did it. It didn't come out of nowhere when he was innocent. And he explained this in the trial, and one of the prosecuting attorneys simply said, if he wanted to be put away for life, why didn't he just rape a white woman? Or something to that effect. If that's how he felt, then why didn't he just rape a white woman? In other words, if he's going to go against white supremacy, then why didn't he just go all out against white supremacy and put his black dingling in a white woman against her will? The man forgot that he was innocent, and then he became guilty of something. But the point is, he forgot he was innocent. When you were blamed for anything, really, you can forget that you're innocent. When you are blamed for things of a sexual nature, you know that you can't prove innocence even then. There's no hope of you being proven innocent of that. You can be proven, you could be proven to have engaged in normal activity, but you can never be proven to have never done something of a deviant nature. I remember that. I remember when I was in high school, and early high school, late middle school, and the rumors were that I was into kids or I was into other guys because I didn't date. Well, of course I didn't, because at that time the trend shifted. You didn't want to be seen with, you didn't want to look like you were in a mixed couple at that point in time. So the trend shifted. So of course I wasn't going to date. Well, because that led to rumors and speculations, then what wound up happening after that was that I came to realize that whenever there was a rumor, I had no proof that it was false. So I would simply stop arguing about it, just quit debating about it. So when I got older, and then I would hear some rumors in another city from women that I later found out were just, they were just frustrated. I didn't bother to get into arguments and debates and defend myself and explain that only an adult woman from within our race would have a shot with me. I didn't explain this. I didn't bother explaining that no, I wasn't friendly to the kids that these single moms would bring to work sometimes because I was dangerous to the kids. I was friendly to them because they were kids and they were innocent. There was no reason to not be. That's why. I quit bothering to explain that no, I actually don't hit women. I'm not abusive, especially towards women and children. I didn't bother to defend myself anymore when they would start with these rumors, with the gossip. So it is possible, and because this has happened to other people as well, they've mentioned it. Ilhan Omar has been rumored to have done one of the most disgusting things. She defended herself then that first time. Now they're going to say that she's having an affair with a political consultant without proof. And in all honesty, I'm sorry. But I can understand why she would simply just not give a comment anymore. You can become fatigued from defending yourself from sexual rumors. It happens to people. I'm not assuming she's innocent or guilty. I'm simply saying that we don't have proof of the guilt. And if you're black, you should understand what that means anyway. And if you're Muslim, you have it taught in your religion what it means and what the burden of proof is before you can say she's guilty. I hope that this has been a benefit. Assalamu alaikum.